I thought I would do something different. You know, one of the videos that I get the most comments on are the make it owns. And I gotta tell you, it's been a long time since I've done a make it own video. So I thought, what if we did a completely new make it own video, how to, from scratch, using a Mocha kit? Because I will tell you, just from personal experience, I've had the most fun using Mocha kits to make it owns. Why? Because I'm an amateur. And I find that the Mocha kit is the most forgiving of the skin tones. This is Ridley. This is actually one of my absolute favorite dolls, and it's one that I did myself. And I will show you everything that I've done to create somebody like Ridley. I actually have two other ones. This is Riley and Ryan. I'm stuck with the R's. But these are some of my absolute favorite girls, and I love how versatile the Mocha kit is. So why don't we get started, and I'll show you how to make it own Mocha. Okay, let's get started. So the first thing that you'll want to do is you're going to open up your Mocha Make It Own kit, and you're going to remove the front faceplate and the eyelids. And before you can even get started, you do need to spray both of these, all these three pieces, with some type of sealant. And I use Mr. Super Clear. This sealant you can get online. I think I got this at Amazon, but there are a lot of hobby places that will sell this. And you want to make sure it says flat or matte. There are other kinds of sealant as well. So once you spray this, you'll want to do this. I do this outside, low humidity. It needs to dry completely. Once it's dried, you'll notice that the plastic has lost its shine to it. And that's a good thing. That's what you want. So you'll take the eyelids, which I've also sprayed, and you'll set them aside because you're going to deal with that later. And at this point, I'm a little bit daunted. Before you get started, there's a couple of tips I wanted to share before I even do anything. And the first one is to just have some ideas. So you don't need to know exactly where you're going with the doll, but you want to have an idea of maybe the look or the style of the doll that you're looking to make. The second is have a reference. So because this is a Mocha kit, and I'll tell you that it's so much fun because I feel like for an amateur it's a little more forgiving, you also want to you'll have to work with the colors a little bit differently. So my reference today is going to be this gorgeous girl. This is a full custom doll. The face-up was done by Jeanette at Project Dollhouse. It is a Mocha custom. And just the way that Jeanette has done the lower lashes, the eyebrows, I'm going to use all of that just as my reference when I'm doing my doll. And then last of all, don't be hard on yourself. Unless you have professional art skills, don't expect your doll to be professional art quality. All right, the preaching is over. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to do the eyebrows. The eyebrows are the bane of my existence. I use these Prismacolor watercolor pencils. You can get these online. You don't want to spend too much money if you're just starting, but you also don't want to get the cheapest. I always feel like you get what you pay for. Let me set that aside. So I've chosen my colors that I want for the face. It'll be the eyebrows, the lines around the eyes, and the lower lashes. I start easy. So the first thing I do is I like to put a little pink on the lower lid, or the bottom of the eyes, I should say. It just gives a little bit of color. You can see here. I just add a little bit of pink on the bottom. And that'll pop once it's done. So let me finish here. Okay. And then with a shaky hand, I do the eyebrows. What I've done in the past, here's one of the things I've learned, is I've always put them way too high. And now I try to put maybe a fingernail's length where I start. I'm going to put this down so I can try to get this as straight as possible. But I'll also say that just as my security, I keep with me a little bit of sandpaper. This is, I believe, a 1500 grit. This is, it's good if you just want a quick rub to get to fix some of the errors that you make along the way. But also I like that it's foam because it contours really well to the face. Another handy little tool to have is a magic eraser. This is awesome. It kind of melts away all of your mistakes. Not that you'd make any. So just with a fingernail's length and some sharp pencils, I just start drawing. There are many other techniques to do this. I know some people use pastels, but I am just going to draw the faintest of lines to give you kind of a baseline to start with. And this is my favorite part, trying to get them to match. I've found that a lot of things can be fixed along the way. I am going to try to do a little bit of pastel on this one. So I'm going to leave that there for now, and I'm going to color those in just a minute. The second thing I do once I've got the brows on is I just start thinking about how I want to do the lower lashes. Now if you'll look at my reference doll, Jeanette has done a wonderful job making these gorgeous lower lashes that have a little bit of white in them. They're a little uneven, some are longer than the others. So that's kind of where I'm going to go with this one. So I'll start with the darkest color. Do the other side. And then I might fill in with another color. So I love white. White is awesome on Mocha. And then just for a little extra dimension, I've got this this is called sienna brown in my palette. I'm going to add a couple of those just to give it a little extra color. And that's the base. So let me finish filling in the eyebrows a little bit, and then I'm going to consider this the first layer, and I'm going to do a layer of sealant. So that's sort of a tip. As you're going from each layer, you'll want to seal. Let it dry. There's a lot of patience involved, and then start with your next coat. This Mocha kit is going to have quite a few coats on it, because you'll notice that once you start putting on the layers of pastels, it does take a little bit longer for the colors to show up. So just a second. All right, so now that we've got a coat of MSC on her and she's dried again, you can see that I filled in the eyebrows just a little bit. I haven't done too much. I've also added a couple of lines around her eyes. That's where you can go crazy. If you're feeling like you want to add a bunch of stuff, you can look at other dolls and look at pictures. It really is whatever you'd like to do. So what I'm going to do next is, you can see I've started, is add the eyeliner. So after the eyebrows, the eyeliner gives me the most trouble. And that is because I do not have steady artistic hands, but that's okay. This is everybody can do this. That's what's awesome about making own kits. So what I'm going to use is a black acrylic paint. And I got this just from the local craft store. And try to find as fine of a paintbrush as possible. I also got this one's called My Artscape, but I got this I think online, part of a set. So I just dab a little bit here. And for this look, I'm trying to keep it a little bit minimal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on the very inside of the eye and work inward. I'm always afraid I'm going to go blah. So I'm going to just start on the inside and I'm going to work inward. And then once you start to get brave and you know that this little wingtip thing is going to come, try to make it so it matches. We want to do it a little bit above the crease there. So we're going to just start to move outward a little bit. And there will certainly be some adjustment involved to make, you might want to touch the other one up just so they end up matching. But then I kind of go backward and just start to come above the line of her eye a little bit until I fill it in. I'm going to need to fill in a little bit on the other side here. And I'll come back and fill that in. I just make sure that I bring the black down to match the other side. So let me clean this up a little bit, and then what we'll do is once these are finished, that's it for this layer. We're going to do another coat of MSC and then come back and start to add pastels. All right, so once the MSC has dried once more, you've got your eyeliner, the brows, the bottom lashes, it's time to have a little bit of fun. This is the fun part for me because it does not require a whole lot of precision, and it's going to take multiple coats to get the coloring of the face just right. So let me put her down for a second. And what I'm going to use are chalk pastels. These were gifted to me by a very good friend of mine who is an artist. You'll want to spend a little bit of money on this. You, again, don't need to break the bank, but the better quality the pastels, the better quality you're going to see on your doll. And we're just going to pick some colors for lips, cheeks, just coloring around the face, maybe some eyes. And I am going to pick some slightly bolder colors that will still take a little bit of time to show up on the face, but as opposed to using like a fair or a natural make-it-own kit, you'll find that you can be a little bit bolder with colors. So what I do is, by all means, you do not need to have a giant knife like I do. I just happen to collect knives. You'll want to just scrape a little bit of the chalk onto your area, whatever you're using. I use butcher block paper. The white is really easy for me to see where I'm going. And I use, for the cheeks, let's do this color. And this is where you get to just have a little bit of fun. You do not need to go crazy this first layer because keep in mind you're going to do this a few times. So let's just do one side for now. Some cheeks. You can see a little bit of the pink here as opposed to here. And then for lips, here's another tip I learned. Just dry pastel, again, because you're going to do this a few times. And it's going to take a little bit of patience. You're just going to color in. And it is going to take a little bit to get the color you want, but it gives a much more natural look. I used to use a little bit of water. To me, that's a big no-no now. I just feel like, especially if you're a beginner, you're just asking for a mess. And then I'm just going to do a little bit of eyes. It'll be kind of hard to see colors so far because it is going to take a little while. But I'm going to add a little bit of color, and then that's it. We're going to seal again, and we're just going to keep layering on until I get the color that I want. Okay, so now that you've finished the face up, this is my face up with 4 or 5 layers. And this is the one I'm happy with. So once it's been sealed and dried, it's time to add a little bit of shine on her lips. I add a little bit on her eyes as well. And what you're going to use is this high gloss varnish. I got this from my craft store. But any kind of high gloss varnish is going to give you that glossy look you want. So what I do is, this bottle will last you forever. I take a little bit of a paintbrush and just very delicately on the lips, add a little bit of the varnish. So a little extra hair there. And then I put a little bit on the eyelids, or on the eyeliner. So you can see it's already got a little bit of a shine to it. You'll want to let this dry. And I usually add 2 to 3 coats of this varnish to give it just that extra gloss. All right, so while that dries, it's time to move on to the eyes. So inside your Make It Own kit, you're going to get an eye mechanism. It looks like this. You're also going to get some blank eye chips and some lashes. If you want to use the chips that come with the kit, just use some acrylic paint. You'll have to consider every layer, like if you want to do the pupils black, if you want to do a blue or a green or whatever eye color, you just need to make sure every layer dries. I don't usually use this packet. There's so many fantastic artists out there that make eye chips that I usually set this aside. And I'm going to use, for my eyes, these wonderful chips that I got from Kira some time ago. Just think they're really, really pretty. And then I'm going to use some false eyelashes that I got from Daiso. And obviously you'll need to clip these to fit into her tiny little eyes, but this is what I use to just give the eyes a little more oomph. All right, so what you'll do with the eyes is you'll use just a multi-purpose glue. Get this from any craft store. And you'll put a little bit of glue inside the lids. And then you'll put these in here. I'm going to do these off camera so I get them just right. Just make sure that they're set the way you want. And then you'll want this to dry also. So let me finish up my eyes and then we'll talk about the eyelids. So the eyelids, there are a couple of ways you can do this. You can do this just like your face up. You can put layer upon layer of chalk pastels and seal in between. What I'm going to do is airbrush the eyelids because I think it gives a really professional look. I'm not going to do a full tutorial of how to use the airbrush kit, but I just want to show you how I go through making a Make It Own, and the airbrush effect is just amazing. So let me show you airbrushing. For the eyelids, what I've done is adding to the opalescence, here are my colors right here, opalescence, I added blue and red because I want a purple color just to go along with the purple theme I have going with this girl. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to test a little bit over here to make sure the color is what I want, and then I'm going to just start spraying. See the color right there? You don't want to get too close, and you want to make sure you get an even color. Okay, now we've got all the pieces put together. We have finished the face up and it's been sealed. I've put a little bit of an airbrush opalescence on it. The eyelids are airbrushed and I have used a little bit of glue to put on the eyelashes. And we have put in the eye chips. So we've glued in the eye chips and they are dry. So now really the only thing left to do is put her together, which is super fun. So I know when you get a Make It Own kit, it might seem really daunting because it comes with all these like random pieces. It's really not that terrible. So the first thing you'll want to do is you'll want to put in the eyelids. So you just line them up and there's these little like holders for the eyelids. They're only going to go in one way. You will know if you've done it wrong. Just make sure like that. And then you're going to take the eye mechanism, and you can see that there are two little holes on the top and then one on the bottom. The two on the top is going to go on the top of her head. So you're just going to line that up, and you're going to see that the holes line up to the holes in her head. And you take the screws and you just screw these in. Oops. Trying to do this at a weird angle. So you're just going to screw these in. and then one on the bottom. Okay, this is probably the trickiest part. So once you've got the 1, 2, 3 screws in, you're going to take the springs that are attached to those eyelids, and you're going to, let me just try to do this without popping it back. You're going to pull the spring and pull it over this little notch right here. Let me just do that on both sides. I've done this many times, so it might pop back a few times, so just be patient and make sure that those little springs pull over that little notch. And now you're going to take the wink bars, this is going to help her wink, and you're just going to stick these in. You know what's funny, there's always a 50% chance of getting it right or wrong, and I always get it wrong, but they're only going to go in one way. And now you're going to take her body and you're going to line up her neck here. And then you're going to take the back of her head and you're just going to kind of move until the little wink bars kind of pop through, and you're ready to put the other 3 screws in this hole, and this hole. Okay, and so once you put in the screws in the back, and I like to sign my dolls on the back of the head just because it's nice to know when you did it, and I put a year, this is 2017. And that's how she looks from the front, and we will dress her up in just a second. But what I like to do just before I do dress her up is I just make sure that she can wink and her eyes stay closed and they pop open and that her eyes move from side to side. And then you know you're in really good shape. So let's put her together and do a final review. Okay, so this is my doll all put together. Ta-da! Big unveiling, the reveal. Let me just tell you how much fun it is to play with the Mocha Make It Own kits. They are just amazing. So let me just do super quick a review of her from head to toe. The wig is from eBay. It's kind of hard to find sort of realistic hair that matches what I think the vision I have for the Mocha doll. And the outfit is from this fabulous Etsy seller, Audrey Clara. I'll put some links in the description. And her eyes are Nat M. And then she's got these marvelous little shoes that I got from A-Zone. So there you have it. If you have any questions about Mocha Make It Own kits, would love to hear from you, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.